I'll be presenting my poster on L1 writing system influence on consonant doubling in L2 speakers of English. So for a little bit of background, English is what is called an opaque language or language with a deep orthography, which means that there isn't a one-to-one correspondence between phonology and orthography. And so basically the spelling cannot be directly deduced from the phonology. Native English speakers use a combination of phonotactic, graphotactic, and frequency norms, as well as the spelling of neighbors to deduce whether to double a consonant in a word or not. Non-native speakers of English with a different writing system in their L1 tend to follow some of the similar norms. But we're not sure what happens with L1 speakers of languages that have overlapping orthographies. So we wanted to see is how L1 speakers of Spanish, L2 speakers of English determine consonant doubling in new words. So what we did is we tested L1 Spanish speakers and compared them to L1 Chinese and Korean speakers from a study by Yin and colleagues. And we used L1 speakers of English from an experiment by Treman and colleagues as baseline. And so we presented pseudo words auditorily with either a short or a long vowel preceding a key consonant that we wanted to see whether people would double. It should be noted that when I speak about vowel length, I don't mean duration, but rather vowel quality, which is the key distinction in consonant doubling for English. So when we look at the results, we see proportion of doubling according to vowel length in the top graph and number of vowels in the bottom graph. And we see that Chinese and Korean native speakers tend to follow the same pattern as native English speakers, whereas Spanish speakers don't, specifically with respect to vowel length. And we also see that in general, L2 speakers of English do not double consonants as much as native English speakers do. If we look at number of vowels, specifically vowel graphemes and the vowel preceding the key consonant, we see that all three groups show somewhat similar patterns, but with the Spanish speakers showing a smaller difference between the two conditions than the English speakers. So just to conclude, L1 Spanish speakers do not seem to use vowel length to determine consonant doubling. They do use a number of vowel graphemes for this decision. Non-native speakers tend to double consonants less often overall, but those with a different orthography in their L1 follow a similar pattern than the L1 speakers, whereas those that have a similar orthography show a bit more nuanced results. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.